here and to share some time and space with you, Sean, and you people here on Fair Advantage. It's very important for me to start this interview off on the right foot.
Hey, I'm sure that you do that one quite a bit, and it sort of hangs around the room for a while. And then, because I think people don't really know if they're supposed to laugh at it. Like, am I allowed to laugh at the handicap guy? Like, is that actually a thing?
Well, I have to do that when I go to middle schools and high schools, and I talk to these kids, and I come out and they see the fact that I have one leg, and there's automatically a lot of tension in the room.
Right.
And for me to break that tension, I have to tell them it's okay to laugh, because if you live a life that I've lived, I can do one of two things, and that's either cry or laugh. And I thank God today I have the choice to choose to laugh.
That's good. I choose to laugh too. I just laughed at you. Okay. Now, you have a story that's unlike any I've ever heard before. I mean, we could spend hours and hours and hours talking about, whether it was 8 years old getting cancer, what's that like? Or not having a father growing up, what's that like? Or knowing that you had achieved a dream and then having it taken away from you, and what's that like? And all of those things seem to have a theme to them. And it's the universe conspiring to maybe push you further and see what you're really made of. And I know my audience, my listeners, and the people at home struggle overcoming things themselves and often find themselves not being able to do it. What was the lesson that you learned earliest from losing your leg at 8 years old to cancer that has stuck with you, that my listeners and the live audience here could take away as something that would be a mantra or your insight as to how to get that going?
It's simple. Action. For me today, action is the answer. It's black and white. There's no middle ground. Either I sit at home and I feel sorry for myself, and I'm bitter, and I'm angry at the world, and I'm angry at God for making me how I am, or I get my butt off the couch and I take action. And I'm at the most peace within myself when I'm engaged in action. And that action usually involves being of service and helping other people.
Zach Gowen, the first one-legged professional wrestler on the Sean Moffitt radio show. Zach, you've lived with a lot of that anger, haven't you? I mean, you really had a time in your life when that anger took over you. And I know for me, there was a time in my life when anger took over me as well, and it made a lot of bad decisions really easy to make. And I know that people in the audience and my listeners at home also struggle with bad times in their lives. Not everyone loses their cancer or gets fired from their dream job. Some people lose a marriage, some people lose a child, some people lose a fortune, some people lose themselves. What was that providence? You called it a spiritual intervention, a providence that entered your life and gave you a passion. What was it?
It was the state of hopelessness. It got so bad for me, and I stayed so many years marinating in this bitterness and this anger and my fears that I absolutely became hopeless. The outlook for my future was not good at all. It got to a point where in my active addiction and alcoholism, I didn't care whether I lived or died. I knew that I couldn't go on feeling how I felt anymore, and whether that was recovery and living this wonderful life of service and being sober, or if it was death, it didn't matter to me which came first. And that is an absolute state of pure hopelessness, and it took what it took to get to that point before I was beaten enough to be able to surrender. It's a paradox, but I had to surrender to win.
And it's interesting to me, Zach, that your entire life revolved around the fact that you were getting beaten every day. I mean, it's kind of, you kind of laugh about it a little bit, I guess, but in reality, you would go into the ring, get the crap kicked out of you, right? Whether you win or lose, you still take the bumps. And then you go out of the ring and continue to do it to yourself. How long did that go on?
Every day of my life, I was 26 years old.
Wow. I am certain that there are people listening right now who know that story, and not because it's yours, because it's theirs too, And what was that moment where you woke up and said, I can't do this anymore?
know. I really haven't, the whole idea is so fuzzy, it got really weird for a long time leading up to that. But like I said, it just became the idea of, I can't go on like this anymore. And something's, I don't know what it was, man, an act of providence, that's the only way I can describe it, where I said to myself, you know what, Zach, I've overcome this, and I've done this, and I've done this, but I don't have the answer for this. My mom doesn't have the answer, my girlfriend, my best friend, nobody has the answer for this. Then what is the answer?
And we're going to figure out what that answer is on the other side of the break. I'm here with Zach Gowen, the first ever one-legged professional wrestler, live from the Unfair Advantage Automotive Mastermind in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Sean Moffitt. This is the Sean Moffitt Show on the Lifestyle Talk Radio Network.